One of the biggest struggles that players have is keeping up with the speed of the game. Obviously, you have so many things going on, and you're trying to keep up with your defender, the help defenders, your teammates, what's going on in terms of the time and score of the game, the context, all of that sort of stuff. And it's really easy that when all that stuff is going on, you can feel out of control. You can feel like you don't have an understanding of when something's going to happen or when to do what's the right decision to make. And it can feel super overwhelming and you can feel really out of control. And that can lead to a huge lack of confidence and ultimately poor performances and maybe even underperforming based on what you're actually physically capable of doing on the court. And really what we want to get to a point of is a point where the game feels easy. So instead of it feeling overwhelming, instead of just having a level of control, the game actually feels easy. It feels natural. It feels like the right decision is just what you do. In my opinion, the number one trait of elite players is not a physical trait. It's a mental one, and that's the ability to anticipate. The problem for most players is that they're constantly reacting to what's going on. And when you're always reacting, it means that you're always going to be a split second behind whatever it is you're reacting to. Obviously, at times throughout the game, you're going to have to react to things that go on. But when we actually can flip the script and start to anticipate what's going to happen, it now means that you're always going to be a half second ahead of everything else that's going on right there. Anticipation is the difference between driving to the basket for an easy layup or putting the ball on the floor and having it stripped from you. The best players are constantly anticipating what's going to happen. They're making things happen as opposed to waiting for things to happen to them. And that's why great players who understand and have the ability to anticipate feel like the game is under control and they feel like things are moving slow. When you watch them play, it looks effortless, it looks easy. That's what we want to do. They can anticipate when a lane is going to open up for them to drive. They're going to anticipate how a defender is going to close out to them. They can anticipate when a teammate is going to be open for a pass. And again, that's why the game looks so effortless. It looks so easy and why they're so successful. So here's 3 ways that you can develop this ability to anticipate. Number 1 is having a deep understanding of different offensive and defensive concepts. So learning to read and make different decisions in different situations. So pin downs, for example, using ball screens against man-to-man defense, against zone defense, against closeouts and in transition situations. This is where a lot of players fall short, and a lot of players struggle to, be able to consistently anticipate, and they're always playing catch-up. So they're not able to really make the most of these situations, and it's why you'll have players who will have a really, really good game, and then they have a terrible game for the next 3 games because they have no control over what's going on because they're constantly reactive, and there's no sort of going out there and making their mark and them being the ones who are actually setting the tone. They're letting the tone be set for them right there. The more you understand these actions, the easier the game is going to become, and you're always going to be a step ahead mentally. I'll mention it again later, but if you want a resource that goes super in depth into all of these things, highly recommend you check out Basketball IQ Academy. Like I said, I'll mention that again here soon. The second thing that is really important for you to do if you want to start to develop your ability to anticipate is to recognize advantages. Basketball is, at its core, at its most simple, it is about creating, recognizing, and exploiting advantages. And that's how you can become a great offensive player, is when you can do those 3 things. Learning to read the body language and momentum of defenders so that you can attack when they're at their most vulnerable. That's like one of the most important offensive skills to have. And so much of that goes into your ability to anticipate what that defender is going to do. And when we can do this, when we can create, recognize, and exploit advantages, we're going to be really, really good on offense. And that's the difference between, again, being able to have one good game every now and then because you get lucky, and being able to consistently create great results is understanding these sorts of things. Then the third thing that goes into being a great offensive player and being able to anticipate the game at a high level is watching and breaking down the game. A story that I find really, really interesting is Paul George talked about on his podcast when he broke his leg in the team playing for Team USA and he was out. He talked about how that was like the biggest step forward for him in terms of his basketball IQ and his overall decision-making and understanding of the game, because when he was hurt, he was just sitting there and he'd have to watch his teammates all the time. He was watching them and he was recognizing, okay, what did they do in that situation? Would I have done that? What would I do differently there? And he got all of these mental reps over the time that he was out. And so when he got back, the game felt so much easier for him. He processed things so much better. And it felt more effortless because he had a higher basketball IQ. He understood the game at a higher level, and it was simply because he acquired so many more mental reps over that time because he was forced to. I think it goes to show the power of what mental reps can actually mean for you. And this is something that I've seen all the time with players that I've been around. When they really dive into watching and studying and learning the game, their ability on the court just takes off, like, to a whole new level, like more so than any sort of change that they might make in their workouts or in their stuff in the weight room. Just by changing the way that they view the game and the amount of time that they spend watching and learning and breaking down the game completely transforms who they are as a player. And so spending time breaking down film, specifically studying great players or players that you want to emulate or that you want to learn from, is one of the most effective ways to develop anticipation and elevate your basketball IQ as a whole right there. So like I mentioned earlier, we dive into all three of these strategies inside of Basketball IQ Academy, which is my full basketball IQ program. It's not just that, it actually also has an entire confidence program in there as well. So completely changes who you are mentally as a basketball player and is going to allow you to consistently have great results on the court, unlock the skills that you've been working on, and allow you to ultimately play at the highest level that you've played at before. I've already seen this be able to make such a major impact for so many players, and there's really nothing else out there like this. So if you want to transform who you are as a basketball player from a mental perspective, which is going to translate into better results physically, you being able to actually use your skills and apply them in the way that you're supposed to, and ultimately, like I said, becoming a great player and having that elite sense of anticipation, not just sitting back and waiting for things to happen to you, but you actually being able to go out there and being one of those players that people envy, people look at, because you go out and you make things happen, you set the tone, and the game feels effortless and looks effortless for you. Then I highly recommend that you click the top link down below to check out Basketball IQ Academy. Like I said, there's nothing out there that is even similar to this at all. And if you want the game to slow down and feel easy for you, then this is it. Like I said, that's the top link down below. I appreciate you for watching. Talk soon. Peace.